Welcome into NFL Power Rankings. It's our Tuesday tradition here on NFL Network. I'm Colleen Wolfe alongside three-time Pro Bowler and Rams Radio Network extraordinaire Maurice Jones-Drew.
Thank you.
I know that he's back. He was off last week. I know you're going to be excited about one of the teams in this week's rankings. Elliot Harrison, you've been writing them now for 7 years.
Yeah.
What's a little tease that we can look forward to here?
Well, a team that he likes a lot is going to be at number 3. They've never been that high. I've got a team in the top 10 hasn't been there since 2014. And with all the shakeup, I mean, the middle of the rankings are just all jumbled up. We will discuss your team, I guarantee it.
Let's start with the top 10 here. And I don't know, call me crazy, but I thought the Chiefs lost this week and the Eagles won, but somehow the Chiefs are still number 1?
You're crazy. Yeah, the Chiefs are number 1.
Come on.
Okay, you see that play right there to Antonio Brown off the helmet, okay? This was a close game.
That should have been an interception.
It should have been. They had one subpar game so far this season. I didn't think they were going to go 16-0. I still think the Chiefs have played the most consistent football in the league.
Okay, so the Chiefs, they had 25 yards of offense in the third quarter with 4 minutes to go. So they're 1. The Eagles are 2. How do you feel about this, MJD?
You know what, Colleen? I really feel like the Eagles are the best team in the league. And I'm sorry to say this to you, Ellie, but they've won on the road. They played every opponent tough. They went to Carolina and beat Carolina in Carolina, who was a top 5 team, I want to say, at the time. I mean, they played and they found ways to win, regardless if it was quarterback, throwing the ball, a running game. I mean, whatever it may be, they're finding ways to win. Their defense getting turnovers. The Eagles are the top team.
They should be number 1.
I seem to remember 3 weeks ago when I said this is a playoff team, MJD looked at me and said, "You're disgusting."
Fake news.
You disgust me.
The Eagles have been very consistent. Their one loss is to Kansas City at Arrowhead. I think it's fair to have them at 2 and the Chiefs have 1. 2 best teams in the league.
That's how you start the game right there. He goes in. That is a man's run right there.
Plucked out of the air, LaMarcus Joyner, touchdown LA.
He can do a whole bunch of everything.
Quinn gets all the way home. He torched Wilson. Gurley catch, 5, pylon, touchdown. Todd Gurley. Pavon goes in.
You talk about a move there.
To the end zone. In the hearts. Cooper Kupp.
Really good throw by Jared Goff.
I just heard MJD. Look at the Rams starting from the bottom. Now they're here at number 3.
Drake.
I love it.
Yeah,
Elliot, they're 4-2 right now.
I love it too, man. You see the couple of teams they did lose to. Seattle was on a bye. The Redskins didn't look good against the 49ers, whereas the Rams have been consistent, Colleen, the entire season.
Yeah.
We park our cars in the same spot on that one, Elliot. I'll tell you what, though. The one thing about the Rams is they're finding ways to win. You know, they knew they had a tough task in Jacksonville, but the special team showed up. They did a great job. They were able to slow down Leonard Fournette after the first play.
Right.
And then 75-yarder.
Right, yeah. That was a big chunk, and it was definitely scary. But after that, the offense settled in. They moved the ball well against the number 1 defense in football right now, and they were able to get points. Field goals in that situation are good, especially on the road.
Yeah. That was a huge win for them. A little bit of a grind in the second half, but they pulled it out. What about the Saints? Because this team looks totally different right now. They're winning games with the defense, and now they're in the top 10 for the first time in 3 years.
I don't think the Saints defense has been good since I was playing them in Tecmo Super Bowl. I mean, it's been that long. It was great to see them not only do it, you know, a few weeks ago against Carolina, then they did it against the Dolphins. Now they're doing it against the Lions, who have played pretty well this season. I know you see the 38 points the Lions put up. Bear in mind, one of those was on a pick 6, another was on a punt return, and the Saints got so far ahead in this game, MJD, they're letting the Lions complete balls, run the clock.
Well, defensively, they're being consistent, and I think the best thing for them was trading Adrian Peterson. Now you have that distraction out the way. He's happy in Arizona. Now you can focus on your offense. You're running Kamara and Mark Ingram, who are doing a great job. And defensively, they're finding a way to get to the quarterback.
That defense scored 21 points in the game. What? All right, so here's 11 through 20. This is the tier I like to call the AFC South.
Right. Speaking of, look at the Texans there. You know, if it wasn't the Browns and they were that impressive, I would have moved them up higher. They have been pretty impressive the last few weeks now.
Yeah, so the one team on there that has really fallen, number 15, Packers, who are down 12 spots. Obviously, I'm sure that losing Aaron Rodgers kind of went into this a little bit, huh?
Right, and I've heard a lot of people talk on social media and whatnot that, hey, when Matt Flynn was in there a few years ago, they still made the playoffs. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers also came back, and all these guys that you see on these murals on our wall and the video you're going to see, they were younger then. Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb. This isn't as good a team as that 2013 Packers team. I think they're going to have a hard time unless, MJD, you see something in Brett Hundley that none of us see.
Well,
Do you think 15 is a good spot, though, MJD?
You know what? For me, I feel like it's a little too high, per se, but I believe in Brett Hundley because he went to UCLA and he has a chance. Anytime a Bruins on the team, you have a chance, or if it's on the field, you have a chance. But I think I want to wait to see how they play this week. And then once we see how they play this week, either they move up or down from that point. But I think you did okay with this one. I just don't know if I would have dropped. I'd have dropped them probably more, though, just to be honest.
Yeah, you know, I would also say, too, that remember the year the Packers had the most injuries, 2010, they won the Super Bowl. Granted, it wasn't to their quarterback, but the Packers have managed a lot of injuries before.
This offense, it's built around Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
There's nobody that really has that. They don't have a speed option, really, on that offense.
No.
So I'm not really sure how that's going to work out. Okay, what about the rankings 21 through 30? You have the Ravens and the Bucs who are falling. They just keep falling every week.
I like this list, Ray. I'm comfortable with it.
I know. You say every week that you like your list.
I do. The Bucs, you know, their quarterback is injured right now. Their defense looks terrible in the first half. They're shorthanded as well. Baltimore, who are the Ravens right now?
I don't know. What about who are the Raiders right now? They're now at 25, dropping 3 spots.
You know, I'm going to say what I think here, and I want to ask you guys a question. I have the Raiders here because they've been playing poorly for weeks now. Whether it was E.J. Manuel or Derek Carr, I still think their secondary is vulnerable. They gave big plays up to Hunter Henry at the end of this game.
Bosa was all over him in this game.
That's correct. But does Derek Carr look right to you guys?
No,
he doesn't look right to me.
Broken back.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing. We have to understand that they're beat up. I mean, their offensive line isn't the same as it was last year. Derek Carr has a broken back. He's still out there trying to play. And they can't run the ball. They can't run the ball like they want to. You have beast mode there. When he was in Seattle, they were running the ball. Right now, they can't do that, and they're trying to throw the ball too much.
Ryan the snap. Here comes Miami. He'll cut it loose for Hooper. It's deflected and intercepted by Jones. Wow.
The ball hits right in the chest, but he couldn't squeeze it. Hooper had an opportunity. Boy, how many balls are we going to have tipped?
Well, that's a great place to start now. The Falcons lead off this edition of Too High, Too Low. So Atlanta, they collapsed against the Dolphins. 17-point halftime lead they had at home. They gave that up. So they dropped 8 spots to number 12.
They don't give up big leads, the Falcons.
That's so bad.
All right, Too High, Too Low, MJD.
Listen, they're too high. Again, this team has lost 2 in a row. You lose twice at home. Once to the Buffalo Bills, now to the Dolphins. And let's see the way that defense they did play really well, but the offense started to struggle in the second half. The defense was on the field too much. Jay Cutler got this team going. Jay Ajayi got this offense going, and then the defense just stopped making plays. And so right now I feel like they have a lot of issues that they have to fix, and giving Julio Jones the ball is one of them.
Yeah,
they're not finding a way to get him the ball.
Too, that were problems in this game.
Look, I agree. The Falcons, they've lost the Bills, they've lost the Dolphins at home, but I dropped them 8 spots here. You know, I think Atlanta is still at least a middle of the pack team.
Who do they play next?
To a wild card team. I know what you're saying.
Who do they play next?
You tell me. New England Patriots.
All right, let's go to the next one here. The Bears.
Don't believe it.
They're at 21 this week after beating Baltimore. Too high, too low.
Look, these guys are too low. And the reason being is that guy right there, Zach Miller. They're finding a way. That's my guy. But no, really, they're finding a way to win. You know, they've come to realize this defense has to be opportunistic. They have to pick the ball off. They have to make plays. They're doing that. And then they know who their running back is. It's Jordan Howard. He got 36 carries. They're running the ball, and Trubisky's not turning the ball over. And they're really creative when he's in the game.
Tyreek Cohen, he's throwing touchdown passes, too.
Yeah, he got him one.
Things are getting crazy out there. How about the Cardinals? We mentioned them earlier. They're at 26, despite a resurgent Adrian Peterson. He's got fresh legs, guys. Too high, too low.
I'm a little upset with Elliot here. I think Adrian Peterson, he put him in the game. You add a weapon like that, it takes the ball out of Carson Palmer's hand. He's able to keep running. They've been looking for this. David Johnson goes down. You make that trade, and no matter what people say, as old as he is, look at that jump cut and the way he's toting this rock. That's what they need. They have to be ahead of the chains. He allows them to be that. They're way too low.
I think this is a little overreaction to say right now after one game, you know, the phone wasn't exactly ringing off the hook here to sign any aging running back.
Ooh,
really,
you see that move?
Didn't you tell me the Cardinals were awful?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said Carson Palmer is awful.
They were so good in the first half, they took the second half off in that game. Let's talk about some of the big movers and power up, power down. The Steelers up 10 spots. 10 spots to number 4.
Yeah. You know, everyone lost in front of them or was on a bye. And also, I think with Pittsburgh, you have to notice what their defense has been able to do. Now that Le'Veon Bell is getting hot, they don't need Ben Roethlisberger to throw the ball 35 times a game.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like we should change Le'Veon's name to James because he's going hard right now. Give him the rock. Shout out to Drake. I just want to let the world know when Le'Veon's on fire, the Pittsburgh Steelers are on fire.
179 rushing yards.
That's 2 Drake references in one show already.
Ooh,
How about
nice.
the Lions down 10 spots to 16?
Yeah, they've lost 3 games in a row now, Colleen. The first one you explained, well, against the Falcons, Golden Tate got over the goal line. And then the second game, it was like, well, it was against Carolina. Okay, well, this is 3 games in a row, and this was ugly for about 3 quarters.
They were down 45-10.
Exactly. Their defense, they're also having problems on the offensive line. They missed their tackle. I think it's fair.
Well, you know what? Yes and no in this situation. We know that the Saints play well at home, so it's an issue, and they kind of struggle on the road a little bit. But somehow, some way, when you pay a quarterback that much money, he has to make some of those deficiencies you have on defense and on offense. He didn't do it yesterday. So.
Hey, a 50 burger is a 50 burger, too.
We've got our eye on number 6, the Patriots, and number 12, the Falcons. Before the rematch, though, they're going head-to-head in balance of power, guys.
Colleen, you know what? As we looked at this, Elliot, and I want to really kind of dive into a couple things. Let's just start right off the back. I'm going to give the Falcons here the rush offense.
That's
I
fair.
mean, that makes sense,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Now, this pass offense, I mean, the Falcons have Julio Jones and Matt Ryan. They had a great year last year.
What's it mean?
But it was last year.
Last
and I
year.
got to give it to the GOAT. If you could touch that for me. And the reason I'm going to give it to the GOAT is Tom Brady's done such a great job of just finding ways to get these guys open. He's finally clicking with Cooks. Gronkowski's back.
Yes.
Hogan's making plays. The
They
running
have
backs.
backs that can catch the football.
I mean, they're going to throw the ball around the yard, and they're going to try to spread this team out similar to what they did. Now, when we get to defense, and I see rush defense, they're both pretty right?
Can we just not touch either one?
I'm not. Well, my issue is the Falcons let Jay Ajayi get going, and that was the biggest issue you had. And then
He was
the
running like
Patriots,
Earl Campbell out there.
And the Patriots, they've struggled throughout the whole year. Now, I know they didn't do the Jets didn't run so well, but it's the same. That's a tie to me. I'm going to give the pass defense
I think you
to
have
the
to.
Falcons.
Just looking at the talent in the secondary alone, I would give to the Atlanta Falcons. But
And then coaching, I'm going to go ahead and give it.
You hate doing that, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give it to, Bill, he got 5 rings. So that's kind of how it goes. It seems even right now. I figure whichever team is able to stay on the field and
stop the run. Well, if the Patriots can stop Devontae Freeman, but I like New England. I think they've been playing a lot better than Atlanta has as of late. You call these week to week. And if it's week to week, then even though you've been down on the Patriots, they're the better team right now.
Malcolm Butler, though, come on, man. Oh, look at that Monday night game. Redskins and Eagles. What do you think, MJD?
I'm going to go with the Redskins and Eagles because I love it. I think not only is it a big game for their division, it's a big game for that conference, the NFC conference. If those guys get to going where they're supposed to go and the Eagles can win, they have a big lead on that division.
Yeah, they'll probably stay at number 2, though. Elliot, what do you think?
I think this Chargers-Broncos game is going to be really important. Denver's going out to L.A. Denver has not played well. We got to remind ourselves that 4 of their 5 games have been at home, so they've kind of blown this opportunity to take control of their season. Meanwhile, the Chargers have been in every game. They've won 2 games in a row, and I'm having a little bit of faith in Phillip Rivers at home, even against the great Broncos secondary.
That pass rush is so good,
Yes,
and look,
Bosa,
the Broncos' offensive line has been struggling.
Yeah, they couldn't run the football against the Giants. That really hurt them.
Yeah.
Oh, the highlights of them doing my Raiders like that hurt me still.
Oh, sorry, MJD. Time for something a little new here. It's the rankings wrecker. All right, Elliot, which team could blow up next week's rankings?
I think the Bengals-Steelers game. It's a division game. They're playing at Heinz Field. The Bengals I've had in the early 20s. I didn't know whether I could trust them, but they beat the Browns. They beat the Bills. They played the Packers real tough at Lambeau. And if the Steelers have another bad game at home or Roethlisberger throws 3 interceptions and says the Cowboy can't do it anymore, it's going to blow the rankings up.
Well, I think for me, it's that they found their identity on offense, and it's really, get the ball to A.J. Green as much as possible,
Yes.
run the ball, make sure Andy Dalton doesn't make mistakes, and then defensively, they've done a great job of stopping the run. So we'll see how it goes, but, they've been quietly creeping, beating teams the way they're supposed to.
Because of that defense.
That's so true. This is your closing arguments right now. So you have 30 seconds to say whatever you want to say. We're going to put some time on the clock, and we're going to go.
All right. Hey, I want to cover every team that we weren't able to get to.
Okay.
I've got the 49ers. Boy, all these 3-point losses, they keep hanging in games. Watch DeForest Buckner, man. That guy can play. I'm excited to see what Beathard can do at the quarterback. They do keep losing. So do the Colts. I still believe in Jacoby Brissett. I think he's got a tough matchup, but it'll be interesting. Jaguars at Colts. I think he's going to use his legs a lot in that game.
Where are you?
Exactly. All right, Tennessee Titans. Hey, I'd love to see them run the ball more, but that was an ugly performance Monday Night Football. Jags, I still believe in the defense. And Buffalo. Yes, Buffalo on a bye. We're not talking about them. But when you talk about stingiest defense in the league, the Bills are right up there.
Tyrod, I believe in you.
I'm so glad they're back next week.